A tale of children for the child inside us all. Let me see if I understand this right. A farmer enslaving, practically enslaving, and manipulating a herd of mindless cows, essentially preventing them from behaving in a way which comes natural to them. Milking them and feeding off of them is then seduced by a smarter man into the belief, the delusion, that animals deserve respect, that it is shameful to manipulate and to exploit, and that they, these poor cows, should roam free, and that if they do, most of them will come back to the fold, to the barn, and offer of their meat and of their milk for free to the farmer, to the retarded farmer who can never be a hunter himself, and that they, these cows, will do so of their own volition. He is convinced by this smarter man, who stands to benefit from roaming cows with no owner, that the cow is no different than he is, than this farmer is, and that he, this farmer, should treat them as he would treat his own children, or in the way that he would want them to treat him. This clever mind is partly right, for this farmer is only slightly more intelligent than the cows he keeps and then releases. But the cows never return. Their domesticated training soon devolves back to their natural state, and despite being preyed upon by predators, one of which is the mind that tricked the farmer, they prefer the possibilities and the power of roaming free to the safety, comfort, and warmth of the farmer's barn. Of course, the farmer also slaughters some of them, so it's not all benevolent. Then this buffoon, having realized that he's been duped because no cows come back and most of them try to headbutt him to death if given the chance, goes crying to the one who sold him this bullshit idea, seeking justice. All the while, this simpleton, who still can't get over the brainwashing which feeds into his own insecurities and fears, holds on, holds on to the ideal of equality between bovine and man, where human being and animal are one and the same, resulting in his solution of shaming the cows back to his barn, or of threatening them with vegetarianism, as if the cows gave a shit. The simpleton suddenly realizes that he too is a bovine, a bull full of bullshit, and that he's been tricked by the real farmer in this entire affair, because he no longer requires a bull for his cows, and this bull is up for slaughter, and this is the only reason these cows have been released, or have appeared to be released. It's a sad tale, but let us move on. From my standpoint, a real man sought to understand and control and harness, if you could, not fully control, natural forces. He did not cry when he got it wrong, but took his medicine and adjusted his perspective to include his newfound wisdom. What does not kill me makes me stronger, as the saying goes. He adjusted if he survived, if he was fortunate enough to survive. A man, if he was any man at all, took responsibility for his own predicaments, even if they were the result of a mistake on his part, or even if they were a result of lying, or of the other pulling the wool over his tiny head. He did not blame the other for tricking him. He blamed himself first for being tricked, because such a man knew that hypocrisy is part of nature, and that it is only in man-made systems where lying and pretending and faking and exploiting is considered immoral. A real man knows that even though he is incapable or unwilling to use such tactics as hypocrisy and lies, that these are still a part of natural selection, and that not all are as noble and principled as he is, or as he wishes to be. So to listen to these brain-dead men-children, as I call them, with their extensive vocabularies and their educated referentials and referrals, whining about how turning asexual or gay is the solution to the female problem, is like a child turning his back on reality, diving headfirst into fantasyland because the world isn't as nice as he thought it would be. Running to mommy, who sold him the fairy tale to begin with, is like going to a butcher to defend your vegetarian enlightenment. Feminists propose a similar solution to their own femaleness, to their own simplicity. The butch dykes seduce docile, nincompoop, dumb, ugly, fat broads into the appealing idea that men are evil and that the world would be better off without them, because men are attracted to nice bosoms and nicely shaped rumps. In the MRA community, we have effete little stunted minds hooked on computer game realities, seducing genetic garbage on the other end, with the comforting idea that females are vile because they reject them, and that the world would be better off if females never bothered them again, because females choosing the tall, dark, and handsome is comes into conflict with their Hollywood reality. How sad that the reality is that females are what they are and what they have always been, that is, agencies of nature. They are instinctive, emotional, irrational, confused, intuitive, chaotic, needy balls of energy wanting to find someone, something to guide them, to control them, to dominate them, to give them a sense of comfortable belonging, a place to raise their brood. We get a slight variant with the men's rights advocates to the same feminine inability to cope with the real world. You know, nature before mommy convinces us that human nature was a fabrication, and that man outside paternalistic civilizations was inherently good and just and nice, that man was corrupted by culture, by paternalism, rather than being controlled and directed. You know, like women are, them being representations of nature, that is, women. There's no justice in nature, no compassion. There's no fair play and rules of engagement, and definitely no rights given by a god or a state. We've all heard these stories, have we not? You know the story where there is someone for everyone, soulmates, where persistence eventually pays off, and where love conquers all and always saves the day. We've all heard of these fairy tales. Now imagine the child who has suddenly realized Santa Claus is a fraud and that he does not actually exist. Imagine him pouting in the corner, threatening the world and Santa himself, that if he does not get the gift he asked for, that he will no longer play with the toys mommy buys for him. Funny shit, huh?